Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me. Back in February this year, I had an interesting phone call out of the blue. When you think of all the fantastic poets that the nation has. And they basically got onto my latest book, CD, and luckily for me, one of the key decision makers at the National Memorial Laureate asked me if I would like to write some poetry to commemorate World War I. And of course I said yes. But then I put the phone down and I thought, what the hell have I bitten off here? So I hope you enjoyed it. This is the quartet. I've just only yesterday completed another commission, so that fits in quite nicely with the White Feathers. The first one of the quartet is called Outbreak. August 1914, autumn with a different face, a mask with a secreted smile, a new guise in something dark. Cheers and youth running to the call, a call for arms, brave souls, a cull for all their arts and limbs. Recruits eyed in sight, blinking from their wrappers, for round the corner crossfire, queued in rows to wear green, single-filed like numbers on a page. Lemmings over white cliffs, dive into the unknown for an abyss-like trench, for a gunmetal fish that swims in tears, for clouds torn by propellers in tomorrow's hours. Such a joy to join, a chance to halt the Hun, maybe some mythical monster. Innocence lost in future kicks, over a football, a swig of schnapps, a bittersweet bite to fry, lost upon a general's frown. And shakes soon over, shell-shocking shakes take over, 3 young Tommies on a match. Dragging smoke spied by snipers, creeping gun smoke snares its catch. Gore given up a fever pitch, cloaked of clouds, choked the sky black as pitch, time burnt, wielding its scythe. Leaves falling along with dreams, bodies in a ditch, laying out and fresh like corn, peppered by machine gun, assaulted by gasps, a harvest spilled for a blood-filled moon. Shadows strewn over ploughed fields, with sanguine seeds sown, since the doves have flown before years of winter. Some party that started out with fireworks, chrysanthemums in starbursts, ended with a flower dead-ended and crushed under white-hot glares. Our sanity lost, then blinded by flares. The second of the quartet. We move on, and it could be innocence, humanity lost. It's called The Lost Brave. It could be the soul of a soldier. It could be a group. It could be a ghost. It's called The Lost Brave. Roaming the mud-pie whirlpools through black lilies, replaced by bloody poppies like floral blobs, seeping from a bandaged land and torn soil, cut and tormented by twirling tracers, razors amidst the bruised sky, a brazen bleeding backdrop, canvassing cries, a death knell sounded upon draping clouds, thundering iron clatters the stars in bursts. Trees with branches shaken, limbs strewn, a sun forsaken, forgotten soon, the sun stained opaque with mustard tears. Strained rain screams out crimson, trenches and tunnels to the underworld. Shuddering stairs, wooden stairs, cracked and bare, howitzer auras and fiery flares, forked tongues lick imperial ghost of lies. A snake never buried in time for Christmas. A soul modges and trudges in a trance, wandering in between night and day, a twilight in war-torn time, swirling bullets, scythe-like sink into the wind and make it howl. Oblivious boy, shot by spat-out shells, whistles on the breath of heaven, and to drown those bells of hell. No sweet bird song to greet this shredded day, morning crow calls, answered and float away, with future seeds scattered on ploughed khaki fields, medals ribbon to flow in the wind from his lover's kiss. And miss with a smile, she sheds a tear as he falls from reach. His eyes look upwards to fly a kite as in prayer. Mercy, please find me before the despair. too late for his dreams and bones, then all you can now hear in Ipsis silence, the silence of innocence shot, rocked to sleep through the breeze as shame peers down upon brain peers, choking back jubilance as they gaze at lost, leaning hearts. Just round the corner from you in Alroas, I presume most of you, if you're local, have gone to it. Glastonbury, if you haven't been, I'd recommend it. It's a tremendously beautiful place. I was there on the centenary, August the 4th, on a candlelit evening, and it reminded me again once more of this next poem. On the furthest east of the park is a memorial that was strategically placed there because it's where the dawn sun hits it first. And it's one of the travesties, possibly, the most strangest episodes of World War I. It's about the shot at dawn, and about often kids who, ironically, shouldn't have even been there. They weren't old enough to actually fight, but they actually lied about their age. And then, when they went through all the traumas and the tragedy of watching their friends ripped up in the trenches, they then obviously broke up and cracked up, for a better word, and tried to escape. And this is about that poem, about a young lad who gets caught and summarily just is the following day. It's called The Dawn Casts My Shadow. My mind pushes back the dawn, eyes fixed on an easterly door, an eye in the sky I wish to stay shut. My heart tied to time's ticking clock, one day I don't wish to see the sun. No good can come of this, someone deserving tell me what I've done. Here in twilight, memories and dreams stir, solitude tugs at my mother's hopes for me there, a forced march to step through my nemesis, a cursed luck to tread upon ghostly glare. This bloody, muddy field, lit by phosphorus, no land for any man, let alone a boy. Just 17, I lied about my age, my time, grew a beard eager to fight, bloody carnage, shell-shocked, crazed by war's madness, my wondering wits upped and took flight. Here I stand with hands tied, propped to attention, my last post, head bowed but not in shame, eyes trapped in a bandage, rifles with 1,000-yard stares, cold steel fingers, points in accusation, silence eager to spit out spite, biting smoking muzzles, a sentence meted out without words, justice discarded on a summary whistle. My heart drums fast to drown my ear. I ask once more why we are here. Rhetorical pause, answered by a bullet, to deafen the mouthed pleas of no. Here I now lie, hands no longer tied, flower of youth, sived on windy sighs, flung with my dreams into this shallow pit. The dawn sun still casts my shadow, a sleeping soul stands over his double, my fate staring back into the past. Never white feathers, just for the snow. Of that one is, ironically, many women, there was a craze with white feathers back at the home front, and this is the very first time I've read this in public. It was finished yesterday, so I hope you enjoy it. It's simply called White Feathers, and it's about a soldier who's in a suit on leave. Well, he's actually being exempt through medical reasons, and he gets mistaken for a coward. White Feathers. A young lady in white-brimmed hat and feathers, a beauty on the face of it, about my age approaches. Unsure at first, she then runs, as I hope for a kiss or a smile, or at least a low. I stagger half back as she plants a white feather, pressed hot into my hand. Coward, she brands me without reason. Its softness suddenly feels hard. a plume that cuts me like a razor would, grabbing a hand of salt. She obviously hadn't noticed my hobble, my exemption, except I'm not exempt from my life if she reads my sentence. She didn't look past my blue suit, its world-weary wear and a tear at the seams. She didn't read my thoughts, but then how could she? She doesn't witness my nightmares as I stagger through the daylight, imagining the crossfire, the blasts that rip into my silence, the shelled insults that shock my spine and make me shake, even when a shotgun chases the crows. Now I'm shaking for a different reason, a mixture of anger, sadness. She hasn't seen the lines of men with bandages for faces, hands on each of their shoulders for guidance. No light, you see, in no man's land. Crosses like pins on a torn patchwork of mud. No time to sleep a wink on such a quilt. No cushion unless you shake death's hand, shaped as a bullet or shell or something yellow and drifting. She's never heard the dance of hell, the whistle before we dash over the top, the final whistles of mortar falling as you dive into blackness, into the void. Men, some my friends, poised on fire steps, never to move again. Machine guns mowing them down, cutting their heads like flowers, slashing their torsos as a blade through blades of grass. Men bleeding like poppies, some frozen in searchlights, paralysed in body and mind, screaming upon barbed wire, scrambled, dancing with death. Some begging with bowls hanging out and stuffing gone. You say I've got no guts, young woman unknown. To me a coward comes in other forms. She didn't smell the rancour of phlegm fizzing mists, plumes that burn your throat and lungs, the rancid clouds that left mates choked and stiff as they drowned stumbling through the smoke. She didn't taste the bitter mud as I fell in numbness, my face blinded, one eye in darkness to sense death. She hasn't felt the weight of expectation, the burden of carrying your brother to his grave. Thankfully, she hasn't touched the darkest clouds. I hope that she never does. The final poem in the quartet of the series, it's called The Arrival. It's about a telegram, and it became synonymous in World War I with tragedy and the harbinger of doom. The Arrival. The telegram arrives, paper coffin hermetically sealed, stamped with wings and ferried through sorrow. A punched out note that sinks its fangs into conscience, a punch into one's senses from a steel blue second. An envelope that wraps up a wife or a mother's world, 3-letter bombshells masquerading as letters. Sounds that draw tears, tear out and tangle heartstrings, tied by crushed barbed wire on Flanders fields. Syllables that twist the knife and break the heart, cause the smiles to curl down into cries, make eyes weld and thoughts run backwards. With broken clocks, memories cast their ghosts, whispers turn to echoes. Departing river flows from laughter through happy days, such reverie now turned to nightmare. A deafening cacophony of voices all shout, scream from the ether and bang your skull. A statement that should never be, an epitaph for youth who paid the price. A wasted land where no man breathes, the ones who packed away their troubles for good. Those 2 pennies laid to rest, those 3 stones of words with gravest faces, lost in action. Thank you.